Well, all right. So this is one of our last sessions at Hackathon. I wanted to invite one of the merge request coaches, especially for new contributors. I think merge request coaches are important, is an important resource. So I wanted new contributors definitely to be more familiar with what kind of help the merge request coaches can provide and all that. So without further ado, we have one of the merge request coaches that are based in the U.S., Clement Ho. Yeah, Clement, let's start with a quick introduction. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been contributing to GitLab, and how long you've been a merge request coach for.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, my name is Clement Ho. I've been part of GitLab for almost 2 years now. Prior to GitLab, I was actually a community contributor. I actually contributed pretty much full time for a couple months, and actually got the MVP award for that as well. Right now, I am a front-end engineering manager for monitoring, distribution, and packaging verticals. And I've been a merge request coach since about the time I started, so almost 2 years. And I live in Austin, Texas. So if anyone's in that area, feel free to reach out.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. And what I'll do is I'll quickly share a screen for a few minutes. Here we go. Hopefully people can see it. I mean, this is like a recent addition. Actually, this happened during the hackathon. I mean, if you go to the team page for GitLab, about gitlab.com/team, and one of the things like filters you can apply is a merge request coach, and there are 7 merge request coach, including Clement, that you'll see listed here. So, I mean, I guess the other question for you, Clement, is, I mean, tell us a little bit about some of the other merge request coaches, and you know, it seems like they represent different groups within GitLab, and obviously have a good geographic spread as well. But I mean, tell us a little bit about all the coaches that are currently serving as MR coach, and how they typically help like a new contributors, especially.
Yeah, so coaches are here to help the community as they contribute, whether they're very experienced or inexperienced. We're there to help people contribute. So each of us have different specialties. Some of us are more specialized in front end or CI or merge requests section. So each person has their own specialty, but we all are here to help you be successful in your merge requests. So I know that when I first started contributing to GitLab, I didn't really know any Ruby, and so through other coaches, I was able to kind of write RSpec tests in Ruby, even though I wasn't as familiar. So we're kind of here to help in any way we can. We want the community to be successful in contributing code, helping with our documentation in any way, form, or fashion. If we're unavailable, we will also reach out to other people in our team to help. But yeah, we're kind of the people that are ready to help whenever.
Cool. Yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to add, I've heard this from other merge request coaches as well. I mean, I think some of the contributors feel like you have to have, like, if they're submitting like a new code, for example, like things have to be like pretty much perfect. And before they reach out to merge request coaches. But I've seen people where they'll, you know, mark their MRs like a work in progress, and then even if it's like a 70% solution, and if you get stuck at some places, then, you know, you could feel free to reach out to any of the MR coaches. And I think, I mean, Clement, based on our conversations in the past, I think that's a completely legitimate thing to do. But
yeah, I mean, I think that one of the cool things about contributing to GitLab is that it can be a way to learn. And so we're here to coach and here to teach. So there's bound to be times when everyone in the community is not sure like which direction to go, because maybe something wasn't well documented, or maybe there's something that we're doing that hasn't really been discussed publicly as well as we should have. So there's those situations, and then yeah, as long as like if something is not 100% there, just leave a comment and say like, hey, it's still work in progress, but I want feedback on something. That helps a lot, so that we don't have to make assumptions whether it's 100% or not.
So what are some of the like frequently asked questions that you get from community members? I guess it depends on you know, the nature of the MR, but I mean, what are some of the you know, typical, you know, common questions that you typically encounter?
Let's see. I mean, I think most of mine are more front end. I think some of the questions I ask sometimes get asked is like how to write tests, or what to test. I think tests are still quite challenging. Even within the team, it's not very clear like when to write a end-to-end test or integrated test or unit test. So that's something that even the team is trying to improve in, especially more so in front end. I'm not sure about the rest of the team. So that I've seen a lot of questions come out of that, because right now our approach with our team is more making sure that it's tested rather than really drilling down like what kind of tests we should do. So that's something that we can improve as well. But I've seen some questions with that as well.
Cool. Are there, I don't know if this is a necessarily good question, but are there like some common mistakes or errors that you've seen with new MRs or like a first-time contributors?
I guess I have like some tips that I would recommend.
Yeah.
So if there's code that a community contributor is writing that they're unsure of, like feel free to create a discussion on that line and be like, hey, I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it. Here's my thought process. Here's why I decided to do it this way. Having your code like self-documented in the merge request is really helpful for a coach, for a reviewer, for a maintainer, because it kind of explains kind of what your thought process is so that we can understand how to create a dialogue to respond like, hey, you're on the right track thinking this way, but we also have this other edge case that you may not have thought of. So it gives us like a basis of how to discuss about how to improve the contribution, the merge request, as opposed to not having anything. And then it's kind of, it takes a little longer to figure out where everyone's at. So I think that's a big thing. Another big thing is for our code, we try to be as dry as possible. So we try not to, so dry stands for don't repeat yourself. So we try to make sure that the code is explicit for the most part, and we try not to repeat any codes. So if you are creating a merge request for GitLab and you notice that maybe there's some things that maybe could be reused instead of copy and pasting multiple places, that are some common things that we try to look out for and make sure that those are resolved. And then also there's certain times where there's code, like there's multiple ways to implement code to do what you want to do. Sometimes you can do more implicit or explicit. We tend to lean more on the explicit part. So I would recommend everyone to kind of go through their code one more time before they send it off for review, and make sure that it's cleaned up and things are very explicit and easy to understand.
Cool. Good tips, guys. So any other suggestions or tips for new contributors, or anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'd say don't be afraid to contribute. We have a lot of people here to help, and it's a great opportunity to contribute to something that has a big impact. We have a lot of organizations using GitLab, and also a great way to learn. And that's kind of part of the reason I started contributing before I joined GitLab. So I'm sure there's a lot of other learning opportunities through that as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, one thing I like to add, I mean, even for me, like somebody who is part of GitLab, the merge request coach has been very valuable resource for me. I mean, as an example, during the hackathon, there was I mean, somebody submitted their first MR, ran into a pipeline issue, and then, you know, one of my colleagues just, I think, just posted it on the Slack channel for MR coaches, and somebody picked it up in that's based in Europe. So that was really cool. I mean, just like we thought it was like a simple thing, but wasn't sure how to progress. So even for me, it's been a great resource. So I definitely want to encourage you know, new contributors and community members to reach out to MR coaches or to anybody else at GitLab for that matter. So cool. Yeah, so I mean, Clement, so I mean, thanks very much for your time, and thanks for your work as merge request coach. And you know, hopefully we'll get to talk to new contributors going forward. And oh, looks like somebody's joining, but let's see.
Hannes.
Yeah, Hannes, how are you?
Pretty good. Hi.
Good. Yeah, we're sort of you know, just getting to the tail end of a discussion with Clement, but and we talked about, you know, what the MR coaches do and some of the advice that Clement had for new contributors. But Hannes, I mean, you're one of the more experienced contributors, but not sure if you have any questions or comments you want to make regarding MR coaches.
Not at the moment.
Yeah, just you came in to listen in, but
Yeah.
it's just cool. All right, so yeah, if I mean, if there isn't anything else in particular, I guess we can sort of like wrap this up, and I'll post a recording on the wiki page that we have for the event, and then people that are watching the recording, if you have any questions, just post any questions on the Gitter channel, and then we can go from there. So, and I know Hannes has been on Gitter answering a lot of questions too, so during the hackathon. Cool. All right.
All right,
Well,
thanks.
all right. Thanks very much. Have a good weekend. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.